Excuse me, everybody. We're going to be getting started. Right. Dante. Greetings, my relatives. My name is Kelly Tuti. I am Chippewa Cree and Ponderay. I'm the legislative organizer for the Montana Human Rights Network. I am also a member of the Indigenous Coalition. The Indigenous Coalition wants to thank you for being here today. We are so grateful to be standing in the homelands of our people. We understand the significance of standing here together today as Indigenous people. It shows our strength, our courage, and it also shows that we are resilient. If you guys didn't notice, today is a beautiful day. Yes. As we walk through these halls and we are wearing our ribbon skirts, our beadwork, our ribbon shirts, as we are representing Native people, we are not only showing our elected officials that we care about these issues deeply, but we're also providing the visibility and the representation for our youth so that they will be inspired to advocate for our people like we have today. Our youth. Our Indigenous women are going missing at an alarming rate, and nothing has been done. Today, we are here together with the power to create change and policy. We demand change because our people deserve to be respected. Thank you for being here today in Healing and Prayer. I would like to introduce Rachel Tuti Pichardo, who will be doing a prayer on the flute.
Hello everyone, my name is Rachel Tuti Pichardo. I'm Chippewa Cree and Ponderay. I just want to say thank you for letting me be here, and it's an honor to play this song for you. And when I play this song, it's just going to be a prayer song, so this is the way that I pray. So as I play, I hope that you will close your eyes and you will say a prayer for your families, for yourselves, for these issues, and just however you pray. Pray in your way. Thank you.
Beautiful, thank you, Rachel. Next, I would like to introduce Amanda Walkingschild. She's here with her sister and her daughter. They're going to sing us an honor song. Amanda Walkingschild and the Walkingschild have done a lot for our community. She is my mentor. She is important to our Indigenous community in Helena. So I would like to introduce Amanda Walkingschild.
My name is Amanda Walkingschild, Indigenous. I just want to thank all of you for coming here to support this cause for all Native women and women in general. And I just want to say thank you for the ones who invited us here to come sing for you today, and prayers for all your families and your home fires.
you guys so much. That was beautiful. Appreciate it. We want to recognize everyone here who has worked diligently on the missing murdered Indigenous women crisis. You have organized walks like Marita Growing Thunder. You have had education nights at your house. You have fundraised. You have told personal stories. You have given testimony that has moved us to tears. But before we all get emotional, we have also talked about the power of the Indigenous vote and how with that voice, we can not only elect people to office, but we can elect people to office who listen to us and who advocate for our issues. So with that, I would like to introduce our next speaker. Her name is Ray Peppers from the 41st District.
Thank you, everybody. I learned one thing in life is to stay humble and to remember who I am. But I'll never forget this day, because this day is when we talk about justice for our murdered and missing people. For too long, we have not had justice. And when I decided to run for office, it was not because I wanted to look powerful or good. It's because I had a job to do. And I wanted our people to have a voice. And this day is pretty apparent. And all of us dressed in red shows unity and a power that nobody can ever take away from us. Thank you.
Next, I would like to introduce Jason Smith from the Governor's Office. Jason Smith is someone I met long ago, and he's always been a mentor to me, and he's always a mentor to the youth and upgrowing Native American leadership.
This is, listening to the testimonies, it's been very powerful. You know, it's really hit home for me. You know, I've been with the Governor Bullock, fortunately, for 6 years, and I grew up with a bunch of aunties, moms. You know, all my aunties are my mothers. And I look at all my nieces and nephews, and I come from a very solid family, you know, in Indian country, in our ways. And I listen to the testimonies. It's hard to hear. It's hard to hear, but I'm very appreciative of the people who came to testify. I'm appreciative of the legislators who are elected. The governor wants to look at to see what he can do. The tribal leaders who come forward, especially the families and the advocates who advocate on this issue. We wouldn't be here today without you guys, and thank you for that. I'm lucky to be able to be where I'm at today to maybe help where I can for our future, to protect our nieces and nephews and kids. So thank you guys. Let's go get this done.
Our next speaker is Mike LaValle from Senator Tester's office.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Michael LaValle. I'm the state tribal liaison for Senator Tester. I'm Blackfeet and Grovemont. My mom's from Browning, my dad's from Hayes. I work in Great Falls for the senator. The senator was invited to say some words today, so I will share those with you at this time. Thank you for showing up today to fight for solutions to end the missing and murdered Indigenous women epidemic. I personally want to thank Representative Ray Peppers and Representative Sharon Stewart Paraguay for their leadership and for sponsoring bills to address this issue. For a long time, Native American women have been targeted by perpetrators and families have been torn apart. It is hard to step foot in any country without hearing a heartbreaking story about this growing problem. The stories of Ashley Loring Heavy Runner and Henny Scott are far too common, and we're here today to take action. In the Senate, I have introduced several bills, like Savannah's Act and the Survive Act, to close jurisdictional gaps for law enforcement and ensure that survivors of domestic and sexual violence have the resources they need to recover. And next week, I will be bringing Advocate Breanna Lamb to the State of the Union address to help raise this issue on a national level. These are important steps on the path toward progress, but it's only through these grassroots efforts that we can start to change things for good. So please keep up the fight and know that I will be fighting every step of the way alongside of you. U.S. Senator Jon Tester, thank you.
Our next two speakers are well known for their documentary called When They Were Here. They use their talents in film to amplify the voices that are often found silent. These two are friends of mine, and they're also members of the Indigenous Coalition, and I commend them for their tireless work, traveling across the state and talking to families about these issues, and continuously taking on the emotional strain that often sometimes feels too much. So I'd like to introduce my friends, Ivy and Ivan McDonald.
Thank you everyone for being here. My name is Ivy McDonald.
And my name is Ivan McDonald, and we both currently live in Missoula. When we began our work over 2 years ago, it was to understand not only the crisis as it's happening within the state, but also try to understand the crisis as our family has experienced it. In 1979, our cousin Monica Stillsmoking was kidnapped and murdered on the Blackfeet Reservation. Her family, my aunt and uncle, struggled to file a missing persons report and have the FBI take it serious. When she went missing, they're like, she'll come back, you know, she's probably hanging out with a friend. You know, this was a 7-year-old girl who went missing in the middle of winter, a few days before Christmas, probably one of the coldest places in the country. As we slowly have gone through these last 2 years, hearing stories, sharing stories, and learning about how this crisis affects us as Indigenous people, I don't think we've been to a community or met with someone who doesn't have some experience with the crisis, whether it's an aunt, a grandma, a mom, a family friend, even a neighbor. We also would like to share a statement from Ashley Loring Heavy Runner, our cousin's family, from Kimberly. Kimberly would just like to thank everybody for coming here and showing support for these bills. If you don't know Ashley's story, she went missing on the Blackfeet Reservation over a 1.5 years ago. Her sister searched and searched and tried to file a missing persons report, but was met with resistance at each way she went. It took over 10 months for the FBI to get involved with the investigation, and after that, they had little trace of since Ashley's disappearance. Kimberly recently testified at the hearing they had in Washington, D.C. Kimberly wants to bring Ashley home, and she feels that Ashley can be brought home if we just make these stories more known. I just want to read a quick little excerpt from her statement. Over the course of 9 months that the BIA has taken over the case, most leads and information given to the BIA have not been followed up or documented. Blackfeet tribal law enforcement, as well as the Bureau of Indian Affairs, have not taken Ashley's case seriously. Kimberly was told that Ashley went missing on her own, that she was an adult, even though her family knew different. She was told she is of age and can leave when she wants to. Kimberly wants everyone to know that Ashley is loved and cherished, and she will continue to search for her sister as long as she has to. She's asking that you recognize that Indigenous women matter, and the way our case of missing murdered Indigenous women cases are handled needs to be rectified. We are going missing, we are being murdered. We are not being taken seriously. Kimberly wants to stress the importance that when our women and sisters, aunts go missing, they are missed. We are no longer invisible people in the United States, and we have worth. Thank you.
Y'all too tall. Our next speaker I met last summer. We spent our summer getting chased by res dogs, driving a res to reservation, talking to young, old, elders, middle-aged Indigenous people, and inspiring them to register to vote. Now she works with Montana Women Vote, and she's doing that same work and policy here in this capital. I'd like to introduce Iku.
Oki Nisunitani ko Ikutsimiki Maki Beck. Hi, my name is Ikutsimiki Maki Beck. Today I am reading a statement for my cousin Nicole Walksalong. Nicole Walksalong became part of the MMIW movement after her mother passed in 2015. And since she's been on countless panels at conferences, she's spoken to the press, she's worked with Ivy and Ivan on their great documentary, and she's tried to get her story out there in as many ways as she can, in addition to now working, doing healing work with Native youth. But she's not able to be here today. So I'm going to be reading a statement from her, and we're from the No Laughs clan of the Blackfeet tribe. So Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women, a movement which started in Canada as a response to the lack of involvement, specifically law enforcement, when the numbers of Indigenous Canadian women were disappearing or found murdered at high rates. MMIW has grown into an issue in the United States and slowly is making a presence in Central America, fully encompassing Turtle Island, the homeland to Indigenous peoples. In December of 2015, the day of our winter solstice, my mother took her last breath. She was murdered by two white supremacists who carried tattoos on their bodies of hate, division, and white privilege. Our family lost our matriarch days before Christmas, and while everyone was celebrating with family and friends, we waited for the crime lab to get back to work while our mother laid in refrigeration. In the meantime, the two were caught and placed into jail to await their fate. Our family lucked out with the help from law enforcement, but it was too late. A week before my mother's murder, the same killer took the life of his landlord in Miles City and was able to flee across the state to different towns and eventually take the life of my mother. In interviews with detectives, the killers said they took my mother's life because of her race, because she was Native American. There was no hate crime charged with her murder. MMIW work is more than ensuring our government leaders hear us. We speak up about the injustices of our women and our children, or we speak up about the injustices our women and children are experiencing. We demand our voices to be heard, and we demand our families to be safe. Our family lucked out with the police response to catch my mother's killers. Other families need to have the same responses when a child or woman goes missing. Quit discounting a disappearance of teenagers being teens and women running away from responsibility. Our women and children need help. We need assistance. We don't need our government to turn a blind eye to this crisis. Thank you.
For our next two speakers, I need to let you know this is not an introduction. This is a thank you. When I was downstairs getting ready for this rally, I watched you guys give your testimony. And there was not one dry eye who listened to your testimony. And I want to say thank you on behalf of everyone in this room right now. You are strong, and your strength is more than I could even muster up. So our next speaker is Paula Castro.
Thank you guys for this opportunity. This has been a long, rough road. And it's been hard. And I don't wish this on nobody. I reported my daughter missing on Facebook. Reported her missing in Crow. When I reported her missing in Crow, the person who took her missing report just sat it on somebody's desk who was out on Christmas vacation. When they came back, that's when we had found her 21 days later, on December 28th. We found her deceased. It only took us not even 3.5 hours to find her, but it took us longer to try and get help. Nobody would believe me. They'd tell me the same thing they'd tell everybody else. Maybe she's at her friend's house. Maybe she got a new boyfriend. Did you check there? I checked there. That's why I'm reaching out for help. That's why I'm asking for help. But I didn't get no help. They didn't take it serious. And now I don't have my daughter with me anymore. And I believe something happened to her, but they keep telling me there is no foul play. There was nothing wrong with her. But if there was nothing wrong with her, she'd be here. My daughter was very athletic. She used to love to run, used to play ball. I believe if she was running from somebody, she'd run. Something happened to her, and I know something happened to her, but nobody's saying anything. And I just want justice for my daughter. I want to find out what happened to her and who did this to her. And I'm glad to be here, to be their voice, everybody's voice that's missing. And I'm thankful I found my daughter, because there's a lot of mothers out there that haven't found their daughter, that haven't got that closure, that their mother, their daughter, their nieces, they're still missing. But I'm thankful I got to find my daughter. I have a little bit closure, but not a whole lot. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that. I know as we are sitting here listening to these, I don't want to call them stories, but life experiences, I want all of you to think, what if that happened to you? And to those that have happened to, I want to say I'm sorry. But our elected officials should put ourselves in her shoes. And when we vote on these bills and when we hear these testimonies, we need to be thinking what it would feel like to be her. Our next speaker is Melinda Harris.
Good afternoon. My name is Melinda Harris Timberhand, and I'm speaking on behalf of my murdered daughter, Hannah Harris. In July 4th, 2013, my daughter was found murdered on the Northern Cheyenne Reservation. Through the love of the community, we formed a search party and we searched for her on our own, and we found her. A lot of you guys already know my story. I speak about it a lot. But today I told my community that I'm not only going to speak here for my daughter, but I'm going to speak here for my community of the Northern Cheyenne Reservation. Before I came here a week ago, I posted on one of our pages, if you have a missing or murdered man or woman, please put their names on the list, because I'm not going to discriminate if you're a man or a woman. Murder is murder, missing is missing. Within that time, We got two missing cases that are ongoing right now. We got one ongoing investigation. Out of our women, there was 26 women's names on that list. On the men's side, there was 23 men that were murdered on our reservation. Well, it wasn't just on our reservation. I told everybody that they could put their names on it, even if it was off the reservation, because I know that a lot of our community members leave our reservation and they go to big cities to work and stuff, so I wasn't going to discriminate against that either. But altogether we had like 50 names on that list, and my heart just goes out to each and every one of those families, because half of them haven't even gotten closure. Nobody's gotten justice for their loved ones. But I am doing my part. I am standing here. I am being the voice, not only for our missing and murdered, but I stand here and I talk. I go to the schools. I talk to the children. I make awareness, not just for Hannah, but for them, for their safety also. People always say that I'm a very strong woman. Well, I don't feel very strong. I don't think I'm a strong woman. I'm an equal to each and every one of you. I ain't no higher, I ain't no lower. I'm equal. Our skin shouldn't matter if we're brown, white, black. Murder and missing is what matters. So today I'm coming before you to thank you guys for listening to us today. It takes a community to get going, and with the help of our new president, we're going to make changes on our reservation, along with all these beautiful people who are making changes on their reservation also. I salute you. I'm very proud of what we have, how far we have come in our fight for justice, fight for all. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Rose Harris. That is my mother. Hannah was my sister. I really want to thank every one of you guys for making this happen, making this a real live thing, because we were quiet for too long. And now we're grouping together and showing everybody that this really needs to stop. So from the bottom of my heart, I really do want to thank every one of you. I want to thank, all the people that got this together and stuff like that. The, state capitol for, having us come. This really is a very powerful movement, and you guys can feel it in your hearts. You guys know that this really does matter. We matter. Our life matters. Their life mattered. And for us, speaking for them, because they can't talk no more, but we're all together and we're getting their voice out, we're being heard, we're standing together as one to make this solution stop. We are proud. We are Native Americans. We are very proud of where we come from, what traditions we have, stuff like that. And I'm very proud of each and every one of you, because I know either you've been through it, you may go through it, or you may never even have to go through it. But I really thank every one of you guys, because you guys are doing your part in being strong, making your voices heard, standing together as one, because don't you hear it? We're not saying nothing, but we're all here, and we can all hear it in our hearts. We can feel it. We know that this is really gonna happen, that we have high hopes, we pray. And I really want to thank every one of you guys for just being here, making this happen. From the bottom of my heart, I thank you. My family thanks you. Our tribe thanks you. Our tribes thank you. Because this bill This bill, if you think about it, will help so many Native Americans in Montana. It's gonna be something that we need, that we've been needing. So this, I leave now, but I do thank every one of you. I do. Thank you. Haho.
Thank you. A couple weeks ago, when we heard that all the hearings were going to be today about these bills, the Indigenous Coalition thought fast on their feet. We thought, how can we get these people here? How can we pay for rooms, pay for gas cards? And we need a rally. We need people to understand. We need people to hear. We need them to listen to these stories. So if you guys want to keep an update on these bills, I please ask you to look at or contact the Judiciary Committee. And I ask you to look at the Facebook page that we created. And we will be putting up updates on those Facebook pages. Thanks to every single person in this room. Thanks to every person who talked. I'm going to end this rally with Lance Forstar, who's going to do a prayer.
Hauda Guchiab, Makai Chanchamagia, Deshana Jimachino, Tabecha Akba, Nwati. It's an honor to stand here before you. What today reminded me of is a ceremony that our Assiniboine people back home have during the first night of our medicine lodge, our Sundance. It reminded me of when the soldiers come home and are able to tell their stories. They're given the floor for as long as they want to. At the same time, the tobacco for our chanuba, our pipes that are smoked during the prayer songs that are sung as our dancers dance for the next 4 days. That's the only time that tobacco could be made, is when these war stories can be told. And in that part, it's a very, very healing aspect of our ceremonial life, and it's unique to the Assiniboine Medicine Lodge. I carry the double lodge where that soldier's ceremony is held. I just wanted to thank all of you before I sing a prayer song. I only have one prayer song that was given to me. I know a lot of prayer songs, but I only have the right to sing one. I wanted to thank Western Native Voice for bringing me up here, Cinda, and all of our colleagues, Alyssa. And I see we have a former chairman, A.T. Staffney, from the Fort Peck Tribes, and Casey Wallet on the Tribal Executive Board, Grant Staffney, and Justin Dupree. They came along too, along with our council, Mrs. Russell. So it's good to see them here. But like I said, today's been a very healing aspect of this movement, of the missing and murdered Indigenous women's movement. And I don't proclaim to be an expert on the movement. I was able to give testimony on my personal experience with a missing individual from my community. And I hope that it can help pass the bill that I had proposed support for. But with all that said, I wanted to sing the song and then explain the background of it. It's the one song that was given to me, and so I have that right. It talks about my Father in heaven gives me this big lodge, or our medicine lodge, and then that's a song. That's our first push-up, or first verse. The second verse is that center pole that's put up in the middle with the fork that represents the center of the universe. That's the second verse. The third one is the Thunderbird nest, and we pray with the Thunderbird as one of the entities that resides in the West when we give our pipe directions. And it's just a ceremonial aspect of that ceremony. But the fourth one is the chanuba, the pipe that those of us who have gone through the protocol of going up on the hill, experiencing the Sundance, piercing and dragging schools, sacrificing for our people and praying. So I want to tell you all that I'll be praying for all the families that have missing and possibly murdered individuals. There was some very, very powerful testimony today. I thank you from the bottom of my heart. But with that, I'll close this with this prayer song.
Thank you all for coming here today, and if you guys would like to hang out and get to know each other and maybe talk to some of the people who spoke, that's more than welcome. Thank you all. Thank you.